up, everybody? It's Ben from Grappling Insider. Today, I am joined by somebody who's really making a difference in the community that I live in and the community that he lives in. Somebody I am proud to call a friend, honestly. He is the founder of One Community Jiu-Jitsu Club here in Kansas City, Kansas. Ray Freeman. Ray, how you doing today?
I'm good, Ben. Thank you for having me, brother. That was one heck of an introduction.
I mean, you deserve it. So I guess I just kind of mentioned it in the opening here, but before we get into the whole story here, tell me, what is One Community Jiu-Jitsu Club? Just briefly, what are you doing?
Yeah, sure. So One Community Jiu-Jitsu Club is a 501c3 organization. We are offering low cost or free jiu-jitsu in impoverished areas. We're currently operating in Wyandotte County, Kansas, which is where I'm born and raised. So it's very near and dear to me. I've been training Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu since 2015 and just hoping to enrich communities that aren't very affluent with that beautiful culture that both you and I have had the beautiful experience of experiencing. So
Yeah, we got to get back to rolling again soon. And also, like, I don't know if you know this, Ray, I'm also a Wyandotte County resident now myself, so you're literally impacting the community that I live in. I'm proud of that.
I didn't know you lived in Wyandotte, dude.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. So before we get into One Community, let's talk about like your jujitsu story. Like, how did you start? How long you've been doing it, all that stuff.
Yeah, man. So, I started training in 2015. I'd been a fan, and when I was in college back in K-State, I remember watching the rise of Anderson Silva, Ronda Rousey when she was on her tear, and I was looking for something to do just to lose some weight, and I figured I'd give it a shot. I'd been kind of training, just doing some traditional workouts that were a little bit boring for me. So I decided to give jiu-jitsu a shot. The first gym I went to had a private lesson going on that was with a soccer mom of sorts. And they told me to go ahead and jump on the mats and see what happens. And sure enough, she jumped on my back, choked me with a rear naked real quick, got the tap, and my ego was checked right then and there. As men, we don't usually walk into situations where we think we're going to lose to females. So that was a reality check for me, which I think not a whole lot of adults get a chance to experience. So with that being said, I'd been training ever since, never stopped. It's 2023 now, purple belt under Shane King here in Kansas City, Kansas, and just hoping to enrich Wyandotte County with the beautiful culture that, most of the Kansas City Metro has. There's about, I'd say, 24 jiu-jitsu gyms in the KC Metro, give or take, and they're all scattered around Wyandotte County. And I get it. It's a very affluent martial art, but it's time to give back to a different portion of the community.
Man, I love that. What's up, everyone? Chances are, if you're tuning into this interview, you probably train in jujitsu, whether it's in the gi, no gi, or both. I've been training for about 13 long years now myself, and when it comes to the gear that I like to use, I personally recommend Rev Gear. They have a premium gi that I love. They have an ultralight competition gi. They have grappling shorts. They even have rash guards that are pretty understated in design, but still really sharp looking. High quality gym bags, even backpacks that can hold multiple gis. So basically just like everything you would need for BJJ training. The best part for me personally is that nothing on that site will break the bank. We're not talking $75, $80 rash guards or $250 gis. Everything that Rev Gear offers is super reasonably priced, which personally I love. To make it even sweeter, Rev Gear is offering a 10% discount on every purchase made on revgear.com when you use the promo code INSIDER10 at checkout. That's INSIDER10 for 10% off anything and everything you buy on the site. I will also drop a link in the video description below. Again, I cannot recommend their stuff enough. Everything I have from Rev Gear fits well, it's solidly made, and in my experience, holds up great in the long run. Again, head over to revgear.com. That's REVGEAR.com. Use the promo code INSIDER10 for 10% off any purchase made and get some quality gear at a phenomenal price. Now, back to the interview. Tell me what you like most about jujitsu.
You know, I love most about jujitsu that it has you'll go in looking for one thing, and then you'll find a plethora of benefits for your life. Like I said at the beginning, I went in looking just to lose some weight, not knowing that I would have my ego checked. So I had the fitness, got the mental aspect, and then I was making some cool friends, met Ben and MMA fighters and lawyers and doctors and construction workers and business owners and people that I in my community in Wyandotte County, we don't really have a lot of interaction with, unless you need their services. So for us to be able to interact as peers and be able to have those conversations when we're in vulnerable positions, it's a very beautiful thing. So that's what I love the most about jiu-jitsu. You go and look for one thing and you're going to find something even better for you.
Man, that's well said. You should be selling it. That's incredible. I think everybody kind of has that story of like, yeah, there's some people that I've rolled with that I consider really good friends, and it takes me 2 years before I'm like, wait, what do you do for work? Like, it removes this whole kind of um not just your ego, but like how you view other people, your judgments you might have about other people. I love it.
Yeah. Yep. And they could work at a cell phone store, they could be a grocery bagger, or they could be the mayor. They could be, Mac Lethal trains jujitsu, Wiz Khalifa, Mark Zuckerberg trains jujitsu now, so you never know who you're going to run into on the mats. And you don't get that in a whole lot of other hobbies.
Yeah, and I definitely think that's kind of a benefit of one community that I'm sure we'll talk about is like just connecting people from different parts of the city.
Mhm.
So let's talk about like how did this idea come about? When did you first get the idea to do this? And then what were your very first steps that you took to make it happen?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. And I can't pinpoint exactly, but I know it was a day where I was sitting on the couch, and it was right after one of a major shooting that happened here in America. And you know, we always have these discussions on social medias about what do we need to do about this, right? People say we need to take away guns. I don't necessarily agree with that. People say we need to have guns in schools. I definitely don't agree with that. And in my opinion, it starts with the individual. It starts with the inside of the soul. It starts with the person being maybe afraid of defending themselves with their hands, or it starts with them not having a friend or them not having respect for their community. And so that's where I really got the idea of like, all right, and I understood that in my life, I never had that. I grew up in foster care here in Wyandotte County, and that has been a major push for me because when foster care, I did not have, you don't have any stability. So it's you're looking for that guidance always. And I didn't find that until I discovered jujitsu as an adult. So here we are, you know, going through this turmoil as a country while I'm going through healing as an individual. And I'm looking inside, like, what is helping me heal myself? And jujitsu was literally like, that was the answer. That's the thing that's been my ground and helped me like get exposure to everything else, in life, my wife, my kids, and enjoying that and enjoying just the little things, right? Enjoying the journey. We preach that in jujitsu that, people want to just rush to black belt, but I mean, you and I, we're purple and brown. How bad do you wish you could be a white belt again, Ben? Some days,
Yeah,
you
I get it,
know?
man. I get it. Um, that's really beautiful. If we could I want to take like one step back. Talk to me about like Kansas City, because I think people that are not from here, it's a nice city. I love living here, but people don't also know about kind of the violent crime that goes on here. Specifically, KCK kind of gets forgotten. So if a lot of people don't know, there's a Kansas City, Missouri, Kansas City, Kansas, but it's all kind of one city. Um, I've lived here since 2018. The Kansas City, Kansas part kind of gets lost in the mix, I would say, the Wyandotte. Talk to me a little bit about like this community and why it needs something like this so badly.
Yeah, no, I think you hit the nail on the head, but I'll definitely elaborate, man. It is one big city, but when it's split down the middle as far as the state line for people who haven't been there. So when you think of Kansas City, you think of the Chiefs, you think of the Royals, you think of Power and Light District, but that's all on the Kansas City, Missouri side. In Kansas City, Kansas, we get all of the setbacks from being a major city that with the major crimes, and we just had 3 shootings like in 30 minutes this past weekend that made some headlines, but it's kind of nonsense that we don't have a lot of sense in community. There's a lot of us versus them. So it is split down the middle. The politics are different, right? On the Missouri side, you got legal marijuana, you got a thriving nightlife, you have a thriving tourist city, but on the other side of the river, you have more residential things like that, and it also a very what is it, diverse demographically, in KCK. So there's not one demographic as far as race or wealth that rules in KCK. And that sounds like a beautiful thing on the surface, but when it's in practice here, these demographics tend to sit in their own pockets. So they really, you'll see a taken care of portion, but many run down portions just because the demographics don't really interact with each other.
Yeah, I think, just echoing that, I think people don't realize that Kansas City is a super kind of segregated city in 2023, so to speak. It's a very divided city in that regard.
Mm-hmm.
Something you said that I really liked was that it starts with the individual, right? That's how you're like making this change in your community, is changing individual lives one at a time through jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious, do you ever think about, I'm sure you have, like, how would your life be different if you had found jujitsu, say, when you were 7 years old?
Man, yeah. I mean, I really think that I would be more successful. I mean, not saying I'm not successful now, right? But I think that I would have had a game plan, or known how to build a game plan at a young age. When I was, aging out of foster care, literally like, all right, man, you're out the house. How do you get an apartment? Okay, how do you take care of your medicals? Like, how do you take care of getting a job, or buying a car, or getting a credit card, bank account? Like, these are all things that I never really had that guidance. And I think that something stable like jujitsu to lean on, even as a foster kid, as someone that moved around, I would have had a better grasp on at least knowing my resources to lean into for that knowledge.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think stability is, everybody kind of has something that they want to do, right? They have this, like, of course, I would love to impact my community. Everybody has something, even if it's not like starting a nonprofit, even if it's starting your own business, even if it's for your own personal gain. Everybody kind of has this idea, things that they want to do. And you're, somebody, I'm sure a lot of people heard you talk about this idea at the beginning and they're like, sure, sure, whatever. Of course you're going to do this. What if there was anything that triggered you to like, I'm actually going to do this now. I'm not just going to talk about it. I'm going to actually do this.
you know, that's a good question. And I think it was the realization one day that when I realized that there were gyms popping up all over Kansas City, but none in Wyandotte County. And that was 3 years ago, Ben. And I mean, here I am today still. There's been probably 3 gyms that have opened up. And I'm not knocking anyone here. Look, people, make your money. Please do. Like, do what you got to do to make your money. It's not a good place to open up a gym, right? It's jiu-jitsu is $150 a month, easy in KC Metro. But it's the culture that these people don't get access to that I think is a disservice as people I mean, as we're jujitsu players, man, we want to get this out. There's some days where I almost like have to word vomit my technique because it's in me and I need to share it. We want it's like sharing a good secret with your best friend. It's like, man, check this out, and so that's how I had the motivation to finally be like, you know what? If no one else is going to do this, then I'm going to do it. And I get it, man. It has not been easy doing running this thing, man. We've had some issues with funding. We've had some issues with initially students, but through resilience and keeping at it, we've had success. And honestly, I learned that in jujitsu. Like just keep showing up, right? Just keep doing it, keep showing up, and it'll grow.
Yeah, that's very true. What were your first kind of steps that you had to put in motion to actually like get it going from nothing?
Yeah, man. Conversations, literally just talking about it. Like I knew that if I talked about it enough with enough people that I would generate enough interest and generate enough seriousness in myself, enough belief in myself, because when I'm having these conversations with people, I'm also selling myself a little bit, right? I'm like, I'm hyping myself up. Like, dude, are you really about to I mean, I started this thing as a blue belt. I'm like, are you really about to start a gym as a blue belt? Like, are you really about to you don't have any money? How are you going to get mats? How are you going to pay for rent? How are you going to, but again, it's just like I had to. I felt the need that Wyandotte County they need this to build that community. And if no one else is going to do it, then here I am. I'm going to do it. And I get why no one else has done it, man. They're not as invested. Not a whole lot of people are born and raised here. Not a whole lot of people have had that unique perspective of moving around from house to house and from school to school and seeing the deficiencies. So I get it, but we're going to put it on the map here.
For sure. So you talked about, issues with like funding, even getting students. What have been some of the like wins along the way, or like what have been some driving forces that have allowed you to keep it going?
Yeah, no, some of the wins have been, of course, the support of the Kansas City Jiu-Jitsu community. Most of the gyms in the KC area have at least verbalized support, physically shown support by visiting the gym, hosting seminars. You've been out and hosted seminars to the gym, so much appreciated, brother. KC BJJ, the guys at Marathon, my guy Jeff Molina, UFC flyweight. He's on our board of directors. So those are huge wins because that gives us the engine and the energy to keep going. And of course, more recently, we were just awarded with the Buck O'Neill Legacy seat that's up there on my wall. So the Royals showing love from the whole city and letting us know that, we're on the right track and we're doing some good things for the community. So that definitely gives us life.
Yeah, I don't want to ruin it, but like talk to me for people that are not from Kansas City. Tell us about the Buck O'Neill Legacy Seat. Because if you've ever been to a single Royals game in your life, you know what the Buck O'Neill Legacy Seat is.
Yeah, I mean, and there were people. So I actually just got back from Mexico, but there were people from at my resort that knew who Buck O'Neill was. I was completely surprised by that. So yeah, he was a Negro Leagues player, advocate for the Negro Leagues Museum here in Kansas City, which is very much thriving right now. And he was a scout for the Royals, and he would sit in the same seat at every game. And for every game now, they honor a community member doing work in the KC area, and we were so gracious to be honored with that award. So it was definitely a once in a lifetime unique experience.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So let's talk about the actual work. Like, set the vibe for me. What is a typical class like? I don't know how many classes you offer per week. I was looking at your website here, but tell me like what would you see if you walked into one of your classes at One Community?
Yeah. So if you walk into one of our classrooms, Kids class is usually starts off with the kids getting the jitters out. We give them 10 minutes to kind of get acclimated to the mats. They like to do some rolls and play tag and, just hang out, maybe do a little technique. And then we'll get lined up. I'll say a little spiel, give them a little bit of pep talk. We'll have mat chat. We'll talk about resiliency. We'll talk about toughness. We'll talk about integrity and just things that I want them to know about and truly know the definition of, and then see how we apply that on the mats while we do the technique. So then we'll go through some technique. And then we'll do a little game that's very jiu-jitsu related. Sometimes it's sumo. Sometimes they do bear crawl races for cones, but they're definitely having fun. Then we'll wrap up the kids class. Then the adults will come in, and that looks very much like a traditional jiu-jitsu session. We'll line up. We'll get the line drills in. We'll do some technique, 2 or 3 techniques a day. Then we'll go ahead and do situational roles and then turn the clock on for some live sparring. So the guys have been getting a lot better, man. It's been beautiful to watch.
I love it. I'm curious if you've seen any like changes in any of those kids, or if you have any like success stories, even just in the short time you've been doing it.
Yeah. So one of my students, his mother just shared a video with us. He suffers from autism. He's been training with us for about 2 years. It's my guy, Joseph the Mosive. Love him to death. Shout out to Joseph if you're watching this. And he's shown so much improvement in his character. I mean, this is his mother's testimony. I can send you the video later. So much improvement in his testimony, his drive, like as far as getting tasks completed at home so that he can, have the privilege of going to jiu-jitsu class. I mean, he loves interacting with his friends. I did an interview with him, asked him like what is his favorite part about it. And he just loves hanging out with his friends and just being able to kind of learn with them. And I mean, that's whatever keeps the kids coming back, right? I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So
Yeah. It's crazy. You've probably mentioned 7, 8 things, whether it's emotional regulation, being social, resiliency, all these things that we all know. Probably if you're watching this interview, you probably do jujitsu, you're aware of these benefits. It's just crazy talking about them now, thinking about all these ways that kids that might be in a difficult situation, whether it's home life or just the neighborhood that they live in, having this like resource for them is pretty incredible.
absolutely. No, absolutely. And I mean, we're struggling on funding, so I definitely don't get paid doing this, but I tell you, Ben, I get paid in smiles. Like when they show up every day, they're ready, they're pumped, they're ready to go. And then when they leave, I mean, they're thank you, Mr. Freeman. They're high-fiving, and I'm loving. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And I mean, yes, I will see you tomorrow. I'll keep seeing you tomorrow. I mean, for as long as I have to keep doing this.
I love that. It's pretty rewarding. Talk to me about kind of your short-term and long-term goals with like where do you see it in a year? Where would you like to see it in like 10 years?
Yeah. So we've recently partnered with a few different entities and nonprofits. Some fitness, Full Throttle Fitness. They run a sports performance gym. So we're looking to get more space so that we can offer Brazilian Jiu Jitsu and sports performance under the same roof. That is something that is very important here in Wyandotte County because people don't understand. Also, we don't have a lot of just basic things your traditional city would have. We don't have a Planet Fitness or a Genesis Health Club or anywhere for you to just basic get a workout at. So it's very important for us to actually have a fitness element here, and that's what we hope to have within the next year. By 10 years, buddy, this One Community Jiu-Jitsu Club is a proof of concept. I've never really wanted to be a gym owner. I want Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be embedded in our American culture. I'd like for Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu to be in the public school systems. That's literally what I'm aiming for. In 10 years, I think we'll be able to get that done.
It's incredible. Dream big, man. I love it. What is the best way that people can help out if they want to?
People can help out, honestly, however you see fit. Of course, dollars are great. We definitely need funding. But if you provide a service, if you know how to run websites, or if you know marketing very well, or you do law, or I mean, you know somebody that knows somebody, and run a hot sauce company. Actually, a hot sauce company, Fired Up Foods, just sent us some hot sauces, and they're going to be working on a special blend for a One Community fundraiser. So, however you think that you can help, please reach out and help. I'm more than welcome. Like my DMs are open. My cell phone is always available. It's on my website. So onecommunitybjj.com. Please reach out.
Yeah, I'll put a link in the video down below, but he means it. Like I'll give my testimony is from like seeing where you've come in 3 years. Like it did start with just Ray talking about, I think I wanted to start doing free jiu-jitsu, and then here we are 3 years later, he's running classes. But there's still like a ton of work that needs to be done. So, anybody watching this, listening to this, like I have seen it firsthand. It's pretty incredible. But like let's freaking keep it going. And, I would love to see something like this in other cities. There's no reason why, because I'm sure you could go to Cincinnati, you could go to Memphis, you could go to Portland, and there's a part of that city that is a jiu-jitsu desert, just like Wyandotte County was before this. So, that's what I'll say on it. I'm really happy to like have you talk about it.
Man, thank you so much for giving me the platform and the opportunity to talk, Ben. You're my brother. Can't wait to get on the mats with you soon. We'll make it happen.
Yeah, for sure. All right, man. That's all I had for you. Everybody, onecommunitybjj.com. Like, check it out. Help however you can. Ray, thanks again, buddy.